What's up, you guys? As promised, I am back with another video. I'm going to be talking about today, the beginning of this World Cup. It's been absolutely insane, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect this, bro. This caught me completely off guard. I did not expect Australia to beat freaking Turkey, bro. And you know what's crazy is they were like, Turkey had 30 shots, bro. Like, I don't know how they weren't able to win this one. I'm sorry if you guys hear a little bit in the background. It's my AC. I'm gonna actually turn it down in like a couple seconds. I just wanted to get some air in here. Um, but it's absolutely insane. I mean, I didn't expect this. Of all teams, Australia. I mean, if you look at how they were doing um before the World Cup. Let me see here. I'm trying to see how they fixtures right here. Team form. Um, they lost 3-0 to Colombia. They lost to Venezuela, who's not even in the World Cup, by the way. They beat Cameroon by one. They beat Curacao 5-1. Lost to Mexico 1-0. Tied to Switzerland 1-1. And now beat Turkey 2-0, which is like the most random thing. For me, I thought Turkey would be more in like form, but I just didn't like they beat Venezuela 2-1, who I just said Australia lost to. They beat Turkey. I mean they beat North Macedonia 4-0. They beat Kosovo. They beat Romania. They tied to Spain. Like they haven't lost since September 2025. So this is a like this result is a shocker to me. I'm actually insanely amazed with how Australia like was able to do this. This was probably so far, it's like out of all the games so far in this tournament, I would say that that was the biggest upset of this World Cup. I mean, I didn't expect that, bro. Like nobody expected Australia to beat them 2-0. And that's just insane. Today we have Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador. That one's gonna be an amazing game. Netherlands versus Japan, Sweden versus Tunisia, and Germany versus Curacao is actually about to happen in like 45 minutes. My bad, I was just turning off the AC. So it's just crazy. But also yesterday's games were pretty like in Brazil tying with Morocco 1-1, Qatar 1-1 with Switzerland. Switzerland, I think, deserved it. They weren't even really like they just couldn't finish. I mean, none of those guys know how to shoot it, even on target. Those shots were horrendous. Brazil versus Morocco, this game was crazy. Like I'm I'm amazed with how Vinny got a good goal, right? But I'm just amazed at this defense. Like this defense is shockingly bad. Um, they look like every through ball that Morocco was doing was working on Brazil. Like Brazil had no chance. Um, like Brazil was very uncoordinated. They couldn't defend. They didn't know like how to stop these guys. Um, it was just it was crazy for me to see that. I knew Morocco was gonna give a tough game because I know they're on like a 25 plus game win streak or like non losing streak. But still, I expected much more from Brazil. I thought they had very good players, a very good squad, very balanced squad. But I guess I was wrong. I mean, when you look at them play together, that's not what it looks like on screen. Haiti only losing by one to Scotland. I mean, I had Scotland winning, but I didn't expect it to only be by one. I actually had it 3-0. And Qatar, Switzerland, I had Switzerland 2-1, which I'm shocked that they lost. They tied this one. Canada as well. I'm shocked that they tied that one. I expected them to win, but I heard that they have like 3, 4 players out, so I understand. But also like they had a lot of chances. It's just they could same thing as as Switzerland. They just whenever they get in front of the net, they just can't. I don't know. They just can't shoot. The USA Paraguay game, I was absolutely amazed, bro. I did not expect USA to react like that. Now I always said if you guys check out my last videos, I was always explaining how like my prediction World Cup predictions. I was explaining that this gets tricky to predict because with World Cup, like it's very different from friendlies, from like Copa America, from Euros. but it's similar in a way where if you guys see that like like the home country that's hosting, it gives them a very good boost because the crowd is there, they're at home, they know the field, they know how to play on their own turf. And it's just like I was saying in my video that's why I had those three top in their groups. It wasn't because of football, it wasn't because of they have elite players or anything like that. It was because like they have home advantage. And if you look at Mexico's form before the World Cup, before they started to play in the like at home towards the World Cup, like those friendlies that little stretch of 5 games they had, they were actually I'll actually pull it up for you guys. They were actually That's when they were starting to go on a streak, when they started playing at home, see, right before the World Cup. Because see, like they haven't lost since Paraguay. But even then, like they took a loss to Colombia, by the way, which is us. But since then, like that was the only loss at home. They don't lose at home. Switzerland. But it's rare for them for them to lose at home. So that's why I was saying I was expecting them to pick up form around here after the Portugal game when they tied that. I'm like, yeah, they're like they got home like advantage for sure, because if Portugal can't beat them or get like a goal on them at home turf, that's wild. No team scored on them in like 5 games too, by the way. One, two, three, 4 games, and it was only one goal. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, only one team was able to score on them, and it was Belgium. One goal, by the way. Oh, actually, should I, guys? Let me keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in 9 games on home turf, Mexico only conceded 2 goals. Bro, that's wild. That's what I'm saying. Like being at home gives you such a boost. It's insane. That's why I didn't think that the Canada's injuries would do too much on them to where they couldn't get through that game. But I mean, it is a World Cup. Bosnia did like give Italy such a good match when they needed to qualify to be here. So I expected Bosnia not to be an easy game at all. I definitely expected difficulty, but I didn't expect them to tie the game. Um, I guess I'll just give you guys my predictions for this today. Today I have Germany 4-1 Curacao, or 4-0. I don't think Curacao is gonna score, but you never know. It's a World Cup, so I don't want to but I'll stick with 4-1. Australia Turkey already happened, but I personally would have predicted Turkey. I didn't. Like I said, I didn't expect Australia to come and play like that, and just for it to work. Ivory Coast, Ecuador. See, for this game I'm very undecided. I'm very undecided because Ivory Coast are coming off a good moment, and they're coming off beating very good teams. Very, very good teams. They're coming off beating Scotland, France, South Korea. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. South Korea. And they're just as well as Ecuador, but Ecuador hasn't had like opponents like this. They've had Guatemala, Saudi Arabia, and the opponents that they did have that were of comp was Netherlands that they drew to, and Morocco that they drew to. Ivory Coast went to France and got the win. Ivory Coast went to South Korea and got the win. Ecuador was at home and got the win twice, but it was against weaker opponents, and I know they played their second team. When they were away, they didn't do so good. I heard that there's a lot of Ivory Coast fans around here. So I don't know, man. I'm undecided about this game because for me, I would know more if I could see like the overall fan base, because this is such a tight game where I feel like that's gonna come into play. Is the fan base, the yelling over there in the crowd, feeding into the World Cup hype. But on paper, if you guys look, you would side with Ecuador. But the thing with me is that I don't see their wingers like their attack isn't as good as their defense. So when they get the ball, it's like they attack very slow and very uncoordinated at times, and they're on a 19 match unbeaten run. So I mean, they're not bad team at all. But this is what I mean with the attack. That's why I think that it's gonna be either a draw, or I could see Ivory Coast like winning because of their play style. Ecuador is a very defensive team. Ignore these two games, right? Well, Guatemala fries. And Saudi Arabia, they were playing. I mean, I don't even think Saudi Arabia is in a good moment right now. But look, if you guys look at their 18 game streak, they won these three. But look how many ties they got. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11 ties. So out of those 18 games, they had 11 ties, which is insane. Insane, by the way. And their home games, they win by 1. So 1-0 Peru, 2-1 Venezuela, but 1 by 1. 1-0 Argentina, 2-0 New Zealand, I guess. But they don't really like win. Like they don't really have that to get them over the edge. Like their attack is very still. But again, it's a World Cup, so maybe the wingers will like snap out of that stillness and like turn into some cracks. But you know, like I said, you never know because it's a World Cup. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna side with Ecuador on this one, y'all. I just think Ecuador is gonna. I don't know. I think they're gonna get it, bro. I feel like I got Ecuador 2-1, 2-1. I'm gonna stick with that. I got Ivory Coast 1, Ecuador 2. Even though Ivory Coast beat France, I feel like their defense is just so good, and they play a very defensive counter style, and I feel like they have very fast wingers. It's just they're not smart on the attack, so that doesn't help them. But they do have the capabilities to be good on the attack. So for me, if those wingers like Yeboah, Angulo, whoever plays, if they can snap out of being that still like boring attack and turn into like something crazy like how Luis Diaz or something like that for them, for their nation. Obviously nobody's gonna be a Luis Diaz there. But I'm saying for them, like their version of that. You guys get what I'm saying? If they can get their own version of that on the wings, bro, they're gonna cook. They're gonna cook. That's why I'm saying it's hard for me to side against them because that's all they're missing. That's their missing piece. And Ender Valencia is on his last legs, so we'll see if he has a good tournament. But I expect him to. But I think I'm just gonna side with Ecuador 2-1. Netherlands, Japan. This game I'm undecided as well. I want to go with Japan. I want to go with Japan 2-1. But it's just the Netherlands, bro. Like they have those players where it's hard for me to not side with them. They have Van de Ven, Van Dyke, Dumfries, Frankie de Jong, Gakpo, Reinders, Gravenberg, Malen. That's not bad. That's a good team. That's what I'm saying. That's a good team, and they tied with Ecuador, but it wasn't a good tie. They looked like they were getting dominated a majority of the time. But that's what I'm saying. They just can't freaking finish, bro. It's the only bad thing. Japan has Ueda, Ito, Nakamura, Ito, Kamada, Itakura, Suzuki, Tanaka, Kubo, Duan, Watanabe, Watambi. Um, they have a good team. It's not players that you would know. I know these players because I play like the Asian Cup on my thing, so I know a couple of these players. But it's not even about that. It's the form. Like for me, Japan is on a much better form. They're coming off beating England, Iceland, Scotland. Scotland is tough. Bolivia, Ghana, Brazil. They beat Brazil, bro. They beat Brazil. So I think I'm gonna go with Japan, bro. I'm gonna go with the upset. I got Japan 2-1. I got Japan. I don't know, man. For me, Netherlands have been slacking, man. Netherlands have been slacking. For me, I'm gonna go with Japan 2-1. They lost to Algeria, tied to Ecuador. They got dominated a majority of the time. Beat Norway, beat Lithuania, tied to Poland, who didn't qualify. The teams they're dominating is not even teams that's in the World Cup though. Like Finland, I don't think is in. Malta, I don't think is in. Poland's not in. Lithuania is not in. Malta's not in. Finland's not in. Poland's not in. Lithuania's not in. Norway is in, but they only won by one. Then they faced Ecuador and tied. Then they faced Algeria and lost. So it was progressively getting worse when they versed World Cup contenders. And mind you, these guys, the only one that had a strong streak like Japan was probably Norway, but these guys didn't have a strong streak like Japan, a winning streak at that. Um, so that's why I'm saying for me, I think that Japan has a more overall balanced team. That they have a good. It's not about names, bro. It's a World Cup. It's about how you guys play together. And for that reason, for me, I think Japan's gonna take this 2-1, bro. I think they're gonna do an upset. I think they're gonna do it, bro. I think they're gonna do an upset, bro. I got Japan 2-1. So Japan 2-1, Germany 4-1, Ecuador 2-1, Sweden 3-1. I got Sweden 3-1. Sweden 3-1. That attack is too good for this defense. Um, and Tunisia just aren't a good team, bro. They don't play good. Like I haven't heard anything about them, and I've seen their games. Like maybe I've seen maybe two of their games, two of their friendlies, which was I think it was Austria and Canada. Nothing impressed me. They didn't even score either of those games. They haven't scored in 4 games, and the last game they scored in was only one. So I don't think that's gonna be like Sweden isn't their best, but I mean they're like decent. So I feel like for me, these two are gonna cook whatever these guys are on. As well as these outside backs. I think overall their attack is just gonna cook with those two guys in the center, Isak and Gyökeres. So I got Sweden 3-1. So 3-1, 2-1, 2-1, 4-1. And those are my predictions, y'all. That's all I have to say. Insane World Cup. I think it's been like 10 out of 10 so far. Now let me stop. Like 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Um, Crazy upsets. Um, but that's the World Cup for a reason. The USA and Australia are the biggest upsets, though. For those two, you could probably debate which one is the biggest upset of the World Cup so far. Comment that down below. I want to hear your opinions. But like the video, subscribe, and I'll probably even come back with another video since I've been slacking. But thank y'all for watching, and peace.